Welcome to our July vlog. We're really excited today to have Jacquie Jordan with us, a publicist, actually a really cool publicist, because she does some things we're going to talk about today that other publicists do, but not as technically as Jacquie does. And she's got a whole program based around it that we're going to talk about. Jacquie is the founder of the 10-year-old Silicon Beach. Did I say that? Silicon?
No E on the end.
Yeah, thank you. No silicone here today. Based TVGuestpert, Guestpert Publishing, and on TVOnCameraTraining.com. TVGuestpert is a media development company that raises the profile of guestperts in the media and grows their clients' core business. With TVGuestpert, Jacquie works with businesses on their branding, promotion, marketing, producing, and development, as well as their on-camera execution. Jacquie's been involved in booking and supervising or producing as many as 10,000 plus television guests. That's a lot, Jacquie. Her reign has become successfully launching and executing many syndicated daytime programs and cable shows. She's known for her ability to find heart in any story, and Jacquie gamered her second daytime Emmy her second daytime Emmy for Best Show on Donnie and Marie with Sony Pictures. Jackie's foray into talent comes from her time in the trenches as a nationally recognized producer in broadcast television. As a showrunner for the long-running AMC series Sunday Morning Shoutout, hosted by Hollywood icons, chair of Mandalay Entertainment Peter Gruber, and former editor-in-chief of Variety Peter Bart. Celebrity guests produced by Jacquie include Steven Spielberg, Charlize Theron, Clint Eastwood, Angelina Jolie, Peter Jackson, George Clooney, and Dustin Hoffman. Wow, Jacquie, I can't even imagine working with those people. That is so awesome.
It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Has been a lifetime experience.
Oh, that is so amazing. Well, welcome to Jacquie.
Thank you.
We're going to just chat here, have a really informal chat here today about publicity. Jacquie is also a New York Times bestselling publisher. So you're all probably looking right now going, Julia, why would you have another publisher on? And it's because of the collaborative efforts. No one publisher, no one publicist, nobody in this industry does it without the help of others in the industry. So I am really excited to have Jacquie and talk about all this. So tell us what you do with Guestpert TV.
So as you know, my background's a TV producer, two-time Emmy-nominated television producer. So my work in promoting businesses, authors, and experts in the media comes from the perspective of doing it as a television producer. So my B2B is my work with the shows, networks, and studios that I work with. And my B2C is my promotion of my clients, the authors, businesses, and experts. So I approach it, the way we market our company, TVGuestpert, is that I promote to the TV shows that I have camera-ready experts who can handle a 3-minute segment, a 5-minute segment live, a 7-minute segment, a satellite interview, a live talk interview. That's how I promote them, and that we have content ready to go. So the producers will come to us. We receive about 300 media leads a day, and that traction helps inform me and the company how to set up for placement my clients within the content, the collective content of the collective narrative that we see in the media world. So of course, last week was the big Kate Spade suicide, and then followed by the Anthony Bourdain suicide, and the narrative that came. And I guess as a content creator, know the trajectory of narratives. The story was, whoa, these people have everything that we all think we want, and it wasn't enough. That's really was the narrative. If you can be a Kate Spade who, was a 20-something explosive fashion designer who changed the way the businesswoman carries a purse, who started the business with her husband and has a beautiful daughter and lives in Park Avenue and has sold the business for billions of dollars, and she's not happy. Then the other career you would want would be to be Anthony Bourdain and travel the world to parts unknown, sipping wine and having food with people and conversation from all over the world. Like those two had, which life would you have chosen? Because those were amazing lives. And so the collective narrative in that is, well, they had it all and it wasn't enough. So what is it that we need to learn? And how big is depression and how big is mental illness? And does addiction play a part in these type of suicides? So my job when working with my authors and my businesses and my experts is to get them into alignment into that conversation. How do we jump into that conversation with their expertise? So this past weekend at TVGuestpert, we hold bi-monthly TVOnCameraTraining.com workshops where I call it a surfboard. Collective narratives are like ocean waves. Some are really big, some just dribble through the day. And my job is to read all of the ocean waves. I'm here in Los Angeles, so if you're a surfer, you get that. My job is to put a surfboard as the tool into my client's hands to catch those waves. And then we work on all the incremental pieces then to make sure that the real estate for the value of being out there and the exposure that you're receiving from the media is translating back to your business in some measurable way. Sometimes people expect it to be direct sales. That depends all on the platform, but the exposure needs to translate in some way. And I see you nodding your head because you do it in your own window of doing it just the same. My languaging for it is just different than yours, but this is what we do as business owners and content creators.
That is so cool. So you and I chatted briefly before we started, and we kind of talked about those people who just come in and they think they're camera ready. Let's chat about that a little bit so nobody makes that mistake that's watching this ever again.
To me, there's 3 specific phases to media exposure. There's the effort to get it, to acquire the opportunity. There's the execution of the actual opportunity itself. And then there's the leveraging as a result of the opportunity that we had. Most people are willing to kind of put a little bit of front end effort to acquire the opportunity. But the assumption is that they can walk through the door because they're successful in their own right, in their own field, in their own business, in their own industry. And they're usually fantastic public speakers who do, large workshops or events that are industry related. But to execute, especially in the genre I'm working in, which is, national television appearances, that takes an art form that personally I'm not willing to risk somebody else's inexperience on, whether they declare it or not. I've been around too long to know how somebody is. And my analogy is, you want to play in the Major League baseball game, but have you picked up a bat? Have you been to batting practice? Do you even have the right glove? Do you know how long it takes for you to run around the bases? Do you know the difference between stopping at first, or sliding into third? Like, those are techniques that are required to be a professional expert, guestpert as we call it, on camera. And you just don't walk into that for the first time and do that. Plus, you're staking your professional reputation and business on your ability to deliver the messaging or the content that you have been booked to deliver. And so that's a lot of liability to kind of walk into with an assumption that you can just do it, because the delusion is that it's actually an interview. It's not an interview. It is a tango. And the choreographer of the tango is the producer. So we are, as a company, we are advocates of producer being my specific background. So we're advocates, and the choreographer creates through the content that the guestpert has provided in that pre-production part, as well as what the host is the host is the leader in the tango, the guest has to follow. But the currency of the content is the music for the tango. And there's a rhythm that has to happen. You have to know your steps. And of course, it's not so scripted that it's not authentic. But if you don't know the basic steps of the dance and and you have to hit the song in 3 minutes, yeah, it's a very expensive learning curve for all parties involved. So I really discourage it. And but I do find a lot of resistance from people wanting to get the practice in. But I do know that those who are willing to do it are far greater and more superior and more successful, because a producer of a show that you are booked on, they know whether you're pro or not. They know whether this is a major league baseball game or someone who's, stepping up to the little leagues for the first time. They're not going to be fooled. And my job is to open the door that you can go in and out of, as a content provider for the show. That's my goal for you. I don't want you to just do it once. I want you to be so fabulous that they want you back next week and they want you back 4 weeks. I mean, we've done bookings on the Today Show where our client, from Austin, Texas, had a regularly occurring spot on the Today Show in the morning, third hour, in New York City monthly, because she was excellent. She had the content, she provided, quality and value to the show. So that's, obviously you can see from my PR's point of view, I'm really an advocate towards making the producer's life easy and thereby benefiting my client, which is the business owner or the expert.
That's really cool. And for those of you who are wondering, how important is this for me? Jackie, you were telling me earlier, there are more spots to fill than there are people to fill them, right?
So, yes. So thank you for that. So at TVGuestpert, we receive about 300 media leads a day. So right now I'm working on, with my team, just one of the leads is a Associated Press lead for business owners, just talking about how to fire people that you really care about on the job. That's one lead out of that, and that came in at 6 o'clock in the morning. We're probably going to get hit with a couple more waves of some media requests. I have way more media requests to fulfill than I have qualified media experts. Now, it's not saying that I don't have qualified experts to fulfill it, but qualified, as we market it, on-camera ready experts to fulfill it. And content's the currency, and I hate to pop anybody's bubble, but even if you're amazing in your field, experts are actually interchangeable, and any producer knows that. It's what is the value of the content. So when we receive an inquiry and it's non-specific to a specific expert, sometimes we would receive a specific inquiry for you, which would go right to you. But sometimes we just like the Associated Press. They just want a business owner to give us some comments. So we'll filter it out to a variety of different experts who would have a variety of different points of view. They'll send us back through their profile, maybe 5 or 6 speaking points, nothing complicated, just their unique point of view on that topic. And then we'll present it to this one. In this case, it's a journalist, and say, hey, look at the variety. These are the expertises. Which way do you want to go with it? And but content is the currency that we are all operating in. And it's not, hate to say it, but it's not about the expert, and it's definitely not about the book. And as a New York Times bestselling publisher who does the promotion of the books for our authors, it has to be about the story that we're creating to get it into the narrative, and not about the book. And if we make it about the book, then you only actually have one story to promote. But if we make it about everything that's going on in the collective narrative, you'll have, 25 different ways to promote your same book.
That is amazing. So there's more than just book content when you're doing this. Is it helpful for the people who are being considered to work with you to have video content already out there and different types of content, be versatile with what they talk about?
That's a great question. Really great question, because it blends also into branding alignment. So for example, we're in the process of writing or finishing our own company book called The Ultimate On-Camera Guidebook, hosts, experts, and influencers. And influencers is a whole new arena. And what we put out, the stories that we put out in social media, in my opinion, as a content creator, have to be very predetermined and carefully crafted. They cannot be random. When we pitch for a business owner, an expert, an entrepreneur, or an author to the media, the first thing we do is we pitch, based on a hot topic that we've already got some content for. We highlight the author's platform. We get the book plug ready. And then the next thing the producers do is they're going to search. They're going to do a Google search, a YouTube search, a social media search, a Facebook search, and a website search. Blah, blah, blah. And if the content isn't congruent or complementary, it can knock you out in just one of those places.
Wow.
So for example, my personal Instagram, my personal Facebook, I jokingly say, and is friends of faces and family, furry creatures, food, and some fitness fun. But it's like, but really truthfully in who I am and the dimensional life that I lead, it's really this much of what I'm actually showing, and some people really on social media go really far out. And quite frankly, sometimes I enjoy seeing how, I enjoy their stories. So it's not, I don't have a judgment against it, but as an advocate for their business goals, I have to monitor whether it's in alignment from what we're trying to achieve. Even with YouTube videos, is the YouTube channel and the content on the YouTube channel, are you going for the big YouTube subscription, or you're going for a media following with some supplementary content that you have on YouTube? So because the producer impact, at least from how we're advocating it, is 50 seconds. So in 50 seconds, they've scanned all of that. They've looked at you, that they're going to love you instantly. Yes, you resonate. It is in alignment. What we're selling about you as a company is a yes, or it's all over the place and it's a static field of a lot of noise. And who is this person and what are they talking about? I'm a big believer of losing old content, let go of the older stuff that you've done. And that's kind of hard for us because, we fight for our successes and we fight for our wins, so it's really hard. And I deal with it myself. I don't want to let go. I won that. I fought for that. We talked before, when Amazon bestseller was a very different kind of bestseller. And one of our authors, we sold 15,000 books in 1 hour. That's an Amazon bestseller, but now it's a whole different way of achieving it, and it's quite broad and very non-specific to the way it was 10 years ago when we did it. And for that author, we have to let it go because it really doesn't mean anything. TED Talks are becoming the same way too. TED Talks are like a dime a dozen right now. Unless it's a really quality produced TEDx talk, and they do exist, and we're big champions of them. I watched a TED Talk on a green screen that one of our guestperts did, and it didn't come through us. And it was it was so uncomfortable. So, that quality, that value, that brand alignment, because now the window of the world has invaded all parts of our life, both personally and professionally. And so we just have to operate with a lot of consciousness and focus, and where and ultimately where we want to end up, where is it that we want to end up. And so this past weekend, our guest producer was Leslie Marcus from the TV show The Doctors, and she really reiterated a lot of this, and she gave really great feedback to the group that was in the room. But she said, she would say to some of them, you need to do a lot of video on YouTube that is around this type of content area. And then to somebody else, she says, yeah, you need to drop that and it needs to go away because it's not in alignment. So it's a whole new field that, for our company that we're having to work with. And as you just said in the generous introduction that you gave me, Juliet, was that, we are all collaborating with each other, because we're also trying to figure out, what is this new frontier, because it's a very undefined frontier that makes people stand out. And we also said this too, I see this all the time, and my TV producers see this all the time. Someone puts on their book that they're an international best-selling author. Really, what does that mean? If it's really an international best-selling author, then you have quantified a certain amount of book sales, and that's measurable, that's searchable, and that can be found. We have access to that. So, and a lot of people are using these big titles and big monikers. And one of the reasons we have sometimes trouble as our company with self-published books, which is why we have a traditional structured publishing company in-house, is because the self-published book is not vetted. So you can write anything you want in a self-published book. Your group, whoever may rate it and sign off on it. But when it gets to a national level show, the way the national bookers look at it, they're like, yeah, it's not vetted. So you might have things that are illegal, slanderous, insightful, that their legal department will not validate on air. So from a promotional standpoint, it's very difficult to promote a self-published book. The way we handle it with our guestpert pool, because a lot of my guestperts do have self-published books and they don't always publish through us, again, then the focus has to become on the actual content of the platform and not the focus on the book, even though I am such a believer in having books. And I'm a big believer in having books. I don't care whether you publish through us or if you get a publishing deal or if you self-publish, but it is about memorializing and anchoring your expertise into the space.
That is amazing. I just want to go back. I don't know if you remember, we had a conversation at a table we were at with Shannon Gronich, who's also going to be on this
reverent conversations.
And we actually talked about the shift in the marketplace, which you just brought up. And I think it's really important for people to understand that there has been a big shift out there. And we are waiting to find out like what's next. And my personal opinion, I'd love to hear you weigh in on this, is guru marketing is over.
Yep.
So
100% agree.
Yeah. So when you're talking about influencer, we're actually moving into, I want to hear your definition too. We're moving into a space where you're not only an influencer, but you're providing experiential training to those people that you're influencing, because the days of somebody being up here and just saying, this is how I got here and emulate me, and by the way, spend a lot of money to do it, are over. People want that influencer to handhold, guide me, and tell me what those steps are. What your thoughts?
Well, I agree. And listen, I'm in the entire business of promoting experts. And I do think the guru is gone on every level. Like, I think the spiritual guru is gone, the man who has the answer. But what I do think is here is leading by example. So I think that is the big shift. It's not the, do what I say to do. It's, now I can see who you are with all these windows we have open. And I like how you're doing it because I can see it. So can you teach me? So it's more of an identification passing through, as opposed to the guru, the person who had all the answers. But behind that is the platforms are changing. The platforms are significantly changing. And since I'm out here in the Hollywood area, I can really say that nobody really knows. Everybody can have a prescription for it, but I think we're all kind of in the same boat right now as influencers in whatever arena that we're doing it in, that it is a different, I mean, even the national media, the syndicated television is the audiences are smaller, but it's not, the answer isn't YouTube. The answer isn't necessarily the influencer. So there isn't a success model that can be replicated at this point. One of my personal philanthropies is that I do mentor a lot of business owner women in the Los Angeles area, and getting their businesses. And what I do is I look at their numbers, and I'm like, you're not going to make enough candles out of your garage to support yourself, so that's called a hobby and not a business. So I think that with all of these marketing pieces, we always have to stay in a solvent business alignment with what our core business is. But the marketing pieces, unfortunately, are necessary, because if people don't know who we are and can't find us and don't know what we do and don't know what we're about, then we don't have a business.
Right.
So it is important to keep those basic structures going. But in terms of what the big win is, like, are you going to be the next Tony Robbins? I think that right now is completely up for grabs.
No, I agree with that. And I know another person who books a lot of people like that. And she says that attendance is way down because people want to know, they want that experience of, okay, I see you have a successful model, but I need you to work with me and individualize that for me. Because one size fits all does not, people throw a lot of money at the one size fits all, and then they're very disappointed with the results.
I think the reason for us, why TV Guestpert's been able to navigate and be agile in some of the changes is even though we have a structure, an infrastructure that is cookie cutter, we treat every end result differently because the end result is different. So we need systems in place to systemize what we do, but we always, how we do it is always different, and depending on the expert and the surfboard and the wave that we equip them with, or the baseball game we put them in. But I do think that is really important. There isn't necessarily a business model for it, but I do think the fundamental basics still exist. And I think this will probably resonate with what the work that you do is content, messaging, and branding and translation of how that is all looping back to your primary core business.
Right.
And we've been around long enough to know that some people can have a lot of show and tell, and no business.
Right.
I'm always like, no, I'd rather keep the business together than, the show and tell, but a healthy growing business has a good balance of both, an appropriate balance of both. But too much flash and dash and too much show and tell. I mean, I've been around in the Hollywood game way too long. I've seen it all. And I will say to my clients, and I don't get business for this, but I'm not in it for your 15 minutes of fame. I can get you your 15 minutes of fame, but I'm in it for your long haul. What is the service your business is providing? Is it a value of the world? And can my company support you through messaging and building that up? That's what I'm in for. And that's why we're able to have, a high retention rate with our clients, because there has been measurable growth in their business that we don't take credit for, but we've been able to participate in what we do. And that makes the difference. And that's why we call ourselves a media development company instead of a PR company, even though the work that we do is essentially PR.
Nice. Very nice. Well, thank you for all of this generous content that you've given us today. It's amazing. I want you to talk about two things. You had a freebie for us to go get, but I want you to talk a little bit about this every other month workshop. I know going into this, I didn't ask you, but I didn't realize it was every other month, and it might be somebody who would want to connect with you and learn more about that.
Well, one of the just on a core business level, I'm really about a lot about teaching, because people are hiring us from different industries, different fields of high success in their own field, and they're entering into the entertainment industry. And there is a lot of mythology. There is a lot of mythology that comes with it. So I have to manage expectations. I have to make sure that the client knows what they're doing, even if they don't know what they're doing. And even if they think they know what they're doing, I have to navigate when they don't really know what they're doing. So the couple things that we have is, I'm a big advocate of, as I said, of getting books published. So we do a monthly 5-week webinar series on guestpertpublishing.com. And the first class is free. If you sign in for the class, we'll send you the first 1 hour. And I will take you through the book writing process, but I will also show you the marketing process as we go along, the business plan process, which is the business proposal if you should be going traditional, and the self-publishing advantages and disadvantages versus the traditional publishing advantages and disadvantages. Even though I'm a publisher, I present it neutrally. That's one. If you want to do the bigger package, you can do it as a mastermind group like this on Zoom with us. And we go through a week by week process, and there's a little bit of group format. I work a lot with groups of 5 to 7 people. I don't really work with groups of like 30. I find that for my teaching method, it's most effective, not one-on-ones necessarily, because you can learn by seeing what other people are doing. And then we do, every other month, we do on TVOnCameraTraining.com. We do workshops in Westwood, California in one of our corporate clients' fabulous studios. And we bring in an active working guestpert, and we have a luncheon. So it's like 7 or 8. Some of them are my current guestperts. Some of them are just vetting us out as a company. And we do some content training and on-camera training exercises. And since you're paying me for the workshop, I bring the guest producer in because they'll say to you what you're going to listen to because you're not going to hear it from me. And we just really get into the nuts and bolts of the whole process so you actually know what you're investing in. And I say, do the workshop first. You know, it's $4.95 for an afternoon. We feed you a really nice lunch. It's very upscale, very intimate. I said, and very professional. Do that before you take on a 12-month contract with us so that you understand the brain logos of how the company works for you and you have a scope of what the industry is. Because, you know, we want to stay in a true alignment with the expectations of it. We do a lot of show development for our clients. I mean, we do a lot of things. We syndicate radio shows. We can get you your radio show. I mean, we're kind of a wizard star maker. They don't put it out that way, but you're like, oh, I need this, I need an audiobook. We're like, okay, we can do that. Mm-hmm. But we do it. My passion as a producer is setting up the show development. So the other thing you can do if you sign up for our newsletters, we'll send you a mandate call, which is what all the studios, I call it from A to Z, what the studios are looking for, which is from like A&E to zliving.com. Because if you know you have a show idea, and people think that having a show idea is a business plan, and it's not a business plan. Because the networks pay their own staff tremendous amounts of money for their own ideas. So they don't need us. So we have to build our platforms and become an attractive content provider that they would be interested in. And we go in for a pitch meeting, we work within the scope of the mandates that the networks are already developing in, so that we're not over here coming up with an idea and they're going this way. Right. And I watch people lose a lot of money on that kind of lack of business strategy and naivety. And so much of my company is back ending into the teaching process. And some people don't like that. But I feel like if you're going to make these investments, and whether it's an investment in, you know, in all of your vloggers that you're bringing on, you just should be knowledgeable about the process, you know, that you're engaging in, because we get very specific results, but it also requires, I always say, we're not doing the work for you. We are going to collaborate with you to do the work and get the results. And again, we're not short on opportunities. We're short on camera ready experts.
That's very cool. So just to recap, the workshop, which by the way, some of my clients went to this weekend, said it was fabulous, like really life-changing for them. They can find that at TVOnCamera.com.
That's TV on camera. TVOnCameraTraining.com.
There you go.
TVOnCameraTraining.
Okay, I'm glad I reiterated that right, and then or wrong. So TVOnCamera.com, and then
TVOnCameraTraining.com.
Oh my gosh. Okay, say it again.
TVOnCameraTraining.com.
Okay, very cool. And then the free download, they can find that where?
guestpertpublishing.com.
Okay, very cool. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This is wonderful information. And by the way, you guys, I actually have an appointment set up because I want to find out more about what Jacquie does because of the book journey that I'm taking all of you on. I'm actually going to talk to her a little bit more about possibly using her because I have to hire somebody. I'm always...
Experts should hire experts. I can write everybody's bio. I still pay somebody else to write my own bio. I always believe in doing somebody else.
That's crazy. So I'm going to share my big fear with you guys so Jacquie knows in advance who she's talking to. I'm afraid I'm going to be like that first-time weatherman who raises his arm and like massive sweat from the cameras. So think about that.
Never gonna happen. Here's what I will tell you about you, Juliet, is you are literally a golden nugget. So anybody who can tap into your expertise and wisdom as a professional because of the journey that you've been on through your professional corporate life in advertising to your championship of publishing and business owners is so lucky. So you have a lot to share. And again, that Associated Press lead today, honestly, I'll have my office send it to you because you're would be the qualified expert for that.
Okay, thank you. You just made me cry because I don't know how I would ever do it. But thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to spend with us today. And we'll probably have you back for some things.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.
You too.